Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chats. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well. Good morning, folks. Good to see you back here at the Wealth Coffee Chats. Marvellous Monday indeed. Good to see you. We've already got a couple of early birds on. Awesome to see Andrew in the house. Morning, mate. Good to see you. Kevin's here as well. There you go. Nice work, Kevin. Good stuff, mate. Good to see a few of the early birds up and at it. All right, well, let's get into it this morning. The weekend was great, folks. Hope you got a bit of rest, whatever you got up to on the weekend. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had some fun. But let's do the intros and get the show on the road. Jason Witten's my name. If you didn't already know, most of you might know, but if you're brand new or finding the show, maybe you've just joined our mentoring and coaching program, fantastic. Well done. Awesome to have you here. If you are new-ish or new, or maybe you're just popping back, leave us a comment in the chat. Beck, good morning to you. Great to see you. Let us know you're here and love to hear from you and see what's going on. What do we do here if you are new? Each day we get together, we talk about the world of property investing, making sure we understand what it takes, folks, to go the distance. Does take a bit of effort to build a property investment portfolio. And to be honest, for most of you, you already know this, it's not as straightforward as it seems. It is pretty simple, the idea that we always talk about, which is buy some good properties and keep them for a significant amount of time. My conversation with you is always a 15-year horizon. Property is a slow moving beast. A good property will go up in value and go up in rents over a 15-year period, pretty significantly from the day you purchased it to 15 years in the future. Fairly nice. And that's Australia, by the way, and New Zealand. Those stats show, and all the economic signals show, that it's a good, simple, straightforward, but long-term, medium to long-term investment vehicle. So, if you joined us for any get-rich-quick tips, hey, I'm going to disappoint you. I have not got any for you, but I've got plenty of get-rich slowly and keep it tips. So if that's you, hang around and we'll talk about it today. We'll talk about lots of stuff each weekday anyway. And I'll try and, sort out what's rubbish, what's fear and ignorance perpetrated by the damn media, folks, and we'll try and stick with what's really going on. Jeff, there you go. 21 days on. Well, there you go. That's a bit of a mix. Morning, Fritz. Good to see you, mate. All right, folks. Well, let's do this. Let's do this today. What I wanted to chat about today on the back of our review, our getting started for the year. Last week, it was Friday, I'm pretty sure, we talked about the 6-star team. And if you're there and you want to play along, put in the chat the 6-star team members we talked about last week, folks. Put in the chat for me. Who's on your team? Who's on your team? We talked about property investing being a team sport. Property investing is a team sport. It's a team endeavor. It's about your team. Who's on your 6-star team? All right. And the places and spaces. Number 1, a mentor coach. Number 2, a finance expert, finance broker. Number 3, your property deals team. Property deals. Where do they come from? Who takes care of the property stuff for you? Number 4, a property manager. Number 5, an accountant. You've got to have a good one. And number 6, a fin planner. All right. Okay. So you've got these people, you've got these experts. You need these experts in here to nail this thing as property investing, work with you and for you to get you a result and outcome. I want to dive in a little bit deeper today and talk about what that means. What is it, when you have a team of people, what are you expecting from them? And expecting the right thing from the right people is pretty important. You might have an accountant, you might have a great mortgage broker, but what do you expect from them as you go? Okay, so I want to talk about that today as we go. So I have this concept called MCA. The idea that, put it in the chat if you know what this might mean. What do you think the M, the C, and the A stands for? I actually gave it away in the headline of the live this morning anyway. But mentor, coach, and advise. Advice or advise. Okay. Now, when we're talking to our experts, what interaction do we want from them? Okay, we've got our 6 experts over here. I'm going to put them on the side, actually, because I think that'll be pretty useful. We've got our 6-star team, right? We've got 1, our mentor and coach, right? Number 2, we've got our fin broker. 3, prop team, property deals team. Number 4, you've got your PM. Number 5, you've got your accountant. And number 6, you've got your fin planner, okay? Fin planner. What do you need from these people? What do you want when it comes to the world of investing? And when they are delivering the service or the thing that you want from those experts, what type of engagement, what type of conversation, what type of action will happen here. So let's go through it one by one and just talk about the dynamics that we need to navigate and understand as an investor, so you are clear about who you ask for what. At the center of this is a really important thing to make sure we get set right at the start. At the heart of it, at the center of it, let's do a heart there so you really get what I mean. At the heart of all of this, folks, is that every single one of these people, every single one of these experts, all of them must love and believe in property investing. Okay, they must love and believe in property investing. Number 1 thing is that all of those experts must be into it as well. Nothing worse than having an accountant who doesn't believe in property investing. Better still, an accountant who is an investor themselves. Now, there's a couple of little standard rules here for me, and I'll broach this as we go through this morning. But it's not carte blanche for every single expert here to be a knock it out of the park, investor in their own right when it comes to property. So we'll talk about that. But you do need a couple of these people to be good investors, very active investors, and successful investors in their own right. Okay. So let's talk about the first one. Let's talk about number one. Let's talk about the mentor coach. Okay. At the top of the tree, what does a mentor do? What action, what activity is mentoring? Now, put it in the chat. Get involved in the chat if you're sitting there and you go, well, what sort of thing does a mentor do? Like mentors, what's the difference between a mentor and a coach? Okay. So here's my version of what a mentor does or can do. They have done it. So they have done what you're trying to do. Okay. For example, if you, lead by example. I love it. Exactly. Leading by example. So they've done it. So if you wanted to run a marathon and you wanted someone to mentor you, then, you would seek out someone who's run a marathon and get some advice and some tips from them. And often, folks, often that mentor is giving you their life lessons as well. So it's more connected to life lessons, state of mind often, maybe some emotional, mental sort of, things as you go. So mentor and, connected to life lessons as well, right? And that's sort of a broader picture, okay? And for sure, Tim, data, recommendations, options, and this is where I see the connection of all three of these things. Your expert to mentor, they've been there, they've done it, they get it, hey, I get it. I'm married, I've got 3 kids and, 2 other grown adults. We're trying to navigate life together and build a property portfolio. Shit, that's complicated. I get it, have they done it? Are they, is their circumstances kind of like yours, and will you get some lessons from them so you can navigate? Yep, helps avoid mistakes for sure. Yep, absolutely 100%. So mentor, you get the picture, right? You get the idea. Now, coach. Now, this is an interesting one because coach is a term very, very synonymous with, sport. But, of recent times, the last couple of decades, the idea of getting a coach for other things other than sport is pretty, mainstream now, right? Mainstream. So what would be different for someone who has a coach or you're getting some coaching from? Okay. Morning, Brendan. How are you, mate? Good to see you. Fantastic. So coach, right? So what would be different for, someone to chuck it in the chat, get involved? What would they do? Now, this is where I reckon, Tim, a bit more coach world than mentor world, but the combination of your comments in there, sort of, some data options, looking at information. So coaches often create, actionable improvements on either knowledge or activities, right? So, okay, making sure you're on the right path. So, and it's easy to relate this to sport. Okay, let's just do that. Okay, Brendan wants to run 100 meters, sub 10 seconds. That's his goal. Brendan wants to buy 6 investment properties. Okay, so for Brendan to run a sub 100 meters in under 10 seconds, doesn't matter what the mentor says to Brendan. Oh, mate, back in the day, it was harder back in my day than it is your day, or whatever a mentor sort of says, right? I've done it, but I did it and I trained hard and I got it. I did it and whatever. The coach goes, all right, Brendan, let's check in where you are. Let's do a fitness test. Let's check your blood. Let's check your heart. Let's check all your stuff. you know, hey, this is where you are. This is where you want to be. We've got a training map. We've got some activities. On Monday, you're doing that. On Tuesday, you're doing this. On Wednesday, we're going to check in. You know, on Thursday, you're going to go there. On Friday, you'll have a rest day. You know, Saturday and Sunday, you're going to do some competition, and then we'll start it all again. Okay? So where a mentor, you know, they've done it. You know, they certainly, one of the greatest things about mentors is they've made plenty of mistakes, and if you just pay attention, you can avoid them for sure. Chris, I love that one. You know, they relate it to life and, you know, a little bit more esoteric, etc. But a coach is about, hey, listen, Brendan, like, get your paperwork in. Where's your tax return, your pay slips, and return all that stuff to the broker. We need your buying power and servicing. Brendan, to get to that sub 10 seconds, 100 meters, mate, you know, your job now, you're earning 120. I'm telling you, buddy, if you want to get where you want to go and on the track that you decided, you need to get a pay rise from 120 to 150. That's what you got to do, all right? Or you know what? That credit card that you're still stuck with, you need to cut the bastard up, get off the crack cocaine that is credit cards, and you know, that'll unlock your borrowing power. You know what? Everyone know what I mean? So there's kind of the coaching aspect, and you can see where it fits, right? The coaching aspect, right? Okay. So it's some actions, it's activities, it's tracking, it's measuring, it's accountability, et cetera, et cetera. So the mentor giving you some lessons. Yeah, Brendan. Yeah, I think, yeah, you and me both, mate. You know, so the mentor, life lessons, you know, you can do it, you know, et cetera. The coach, here's exactly what we need to do, and we'll track it, and we'll keep you accountable. And then advise, right? The advice side. This is where you might need something done, and it might be complicated, e.g., getting your tax returns done, you know, varying your PAYG variation to get your tax back in your pay weekly, fortnightly, monthly, okay? That is often with a person who has either some, you know, some license or some qualifications, okay? They've got some qualifications. They're held accountable with an external board, which I think they should. That, you know, those who do these sorts of things should have some external board looking over their shoulder, making sure that, you know, they do the right thing. The mortgage broker does the right thing, and, you know, the property manager does the right thing, and the accountant and the financial planner and the real estate agent and so on. So they're licensed, they're qualified, and they can do a thing. All right, they do a thing. Like they do, I need that done, that I need a contract signed to purchase a property. Please review the contract and tell me about the contract, okay? Cool. So you can see the sort of differences here. Now, often, folks, you know, often we need to understand who does which bit where, right? So certainly in the world of mentor coach, at Positive, we love both of those in the same person, right? An investor who has been there, done that, but also someone who knows how to coach, someone who's worked with hundreds, if not thousands of property investors before, knows plenty of data and information, and can help someone peak perform as a property investor, okay? Which is brilliant, yep, as you go. And then, you know, a lot of the rest of the team here, you know, fin brokers, you know, your property team, your property manager, your accountant, your financial planner, they're firmly over here. They're firmly over here in that world of licensing and advice and doing a thing, which is very important. What you must do, though, is you must make sure that they're into property investing, okay? So make sure that they're on the same page with you, okay, as you go, all right? And sometimes you might have, you know, you might have a finance broker who's quite a successful property investor themselves, but it doesn't have to be 100% the case. As long as you've got one of these experts in here, and I always say, if there's one expert in here that is, you know, if there's one of them that can be that is a successful investor that is giving you, some of that actual true life world, mentor, coach version of the world, if it's one of the people who can give you advice at the same time, that's fine too. Often they struggle, unfortunately, in a legal sense, to tell you what you should do, because this legal framework is actually quite restrictive at certain times, especially with accountants and financial planners and mortgage brokers, folks. So I can say to you, if I'm coaching you, hey, listen, let's change all of these things in your financial world so we can get you more money on a loan, right? So I'm allowed to do that, where mortgage brokers are very restricted in that way when it comes to what they can tell you to do to get more lending, right? It seems dumb as dog shit to me anyway, but it's those are the rules that they play in. So this is the thing that we need to understand. But at the end of the day, think about this: you've got a team of people, experts. Make sure that the ones that you have to tick boxes and get things right, have got licenses and qualifications, and you ask them about the advice on the thing, okay? Here's what you don't do. Oh, listen, financial planner, do you think it's a good idea to invest in property? No, don't ask them that, okay? I can tell you right now, anyway, I'm not going to get on my who is working with you. You have decided that property investing is part of your investment future. You've done the research, you've got some support, you've got some other stuff. Stop going around asking, nice enough people a stupid question. You've decided, the decision's been made. Now get on with it. 15 years of investing, don't lose focus, stay on track, keep going, and get the mentoring and coaching to stay on track, to stick with it, folks. That's the drill. Anyway. Maybe a little bit high horsey there at the end, but that's what you need, right? Don't ask, a property manager, should you invest in property? It's not their spot. Now, there might be some very successful property managers out there who are investors as well. I know there is, but you get the point, right? You get the point. Anyway, there you go, folks. That's it today. Mentor, coach advice. What do you need and when? Guidance on moving forward. What is more important to prioritize to obtain those goals? I love it, Tim. I love it. Absolutely. Yep. You have the goal. It's your goal. It's yours. Don't ask someone else to give their opinion. So you change your goal. You decide. Okay. And a mentor coach is good at helping you kind of flesh out. All right, that's what you want. Why do you want it? Give it some shape. Don't ask the wrong people a good question and expect an answer that's going to help you. Anyway, I don't know if that made sense, but anyway, I'm rabbiting on now. All right, folks, that's it from me today. Great to have you here. Thanks for joining me for Wealth Coffee Chats. We'll do it again tomorrow if you're up for it, at around about 8:10. So if you got time, love to have you on the show. And thanks for hanging out today. That's it from me, folks. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.